Okay, folks, we are going to start. So thank you so much for the individuals that are on this call. I have some support from some of my colleagues. So thank you so much for your support. This presentation will be recorded. And so if there's something that you need to see again, you can certainly ask me during this presentation. I love when contractors or any of my clients, you know, interrupt me during my presentation. That tells me that you're paying attention. So I love that, but know that it is being recorded and it will be sent to you either later today or likely tomorrow. Okay. All right. Before I kick it off, any questions from the contractors that are on the line? No. Okay, great. I'm going to get started. I will try to respect your time. It's 11:05 now. I will try to do it all less than an hour, depending on how many questions I have. And of course, the last slide of this presentation, you will see my direct contact information with my cell phone and email address. So if you have any questions that come to mind later today, of course, you can always feel to give me a call directly. Okay. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Joe Paleo. I'm a regional sales manager at Financeit Canada. We are an organization that have a significant market share in the home improvement space when it comes to financing projects for your consumers. And so what I'm looking to do today, I'm just going to go over to the agenda and go back to the disclaimer. I'm going to talk about a quick introduction to Financeit, why offer financing, benefits of financing, how to finance more deals, and a little bit about the technology that we use here at Financeit. But before I get there, allow me to just read our disclaimer quickly. Financeit Canada Inc. Financeit presentations are informational purposes and only prepared by Financeit. Reliance upon information in this material is the sole discretion of the viewer. Promotional programs as well as loan terms, interest rates are subject to change without notice. Refer to the applicable terms and conditions of the detailed information. Speak to your local representative for more details. Okay. Ryan, I know you're on the call, so I did that. All right. So this is one of my favorite slides. This is a slide where I allow the people on the call to kind of go over it and review it for yourself and ask yourself this question. And the reason why I want you to go through this exercise prior to going into the presentation is my people always ask me, who is my biggest competitor? Is it another financing company? Is it, people's lines of credits? Is it the credit card companies? And so my response is no to all. My biggest competitor is you, the salesperson, or in this case, the estimator, who decides for themselves who has money and who does not. So I usually like to start with this slide to get you to believe how, monthly payment driven the average Canadian is. So I'm going to take 30 seconds. I'm going to ask you to go through this exercise, this slide, and you don't need to share it with anybody on this call, but I just kind of go through it and tell yourself how many do you have from this list, and that I will personally share my findings. All right. Okay, I hope that wasn't a shock to all of you. I actually have 13 things from this list. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I do. I have a respectable income, and I think I should probably I shouldn't have any more than 4 or 5. But the reality is, when it comes to monthly payments of 20, 30, $40 a month, which I feel it doesn't really change my life, I'm certainly okay with having 13 things on this list. Now, the reason why I wanted to share that with you is that if you were to come to my home and prejudge me as a potential buyer of your product or services, and perhaps you pull into my driveway and you say, hey, well, Joe lives in a really nice house. and I'm proud of it. You may think that I don't need a payment plan of sorts. Okay. But just remember, I just admitted that I have 13 things on this list that are typically less than $100 per month. So if you were to lead with an affordable payment option, there's a greater chance that one, you'll catch my attention, to win the business. Okay. All right. Just wanted to go through that exercise. I always find it fascinating. And if in case you want to know what the average number is, whenever I present this slide to a large group, the average is 11. So if you're in around, 9 to 12, you're in the average group. If you have 6 or 7 or less, then good on you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get started to the presentation. So why offer financing? Well, most of these clients here, if not all of them, offer financing. So, and I also wanted to show this slide because, we're not Royal Bank of Canada, we're not TD Bank, we're not Scotiabank, we're not really a household name financial institution like the big banks. You, the contractor, are more of our client. So, if we were to advertise in a local magazine that, was in the contractor space, contractors know who we are. Okay. So again, you are our client, and then a lot of times customers at the kitchen table may ask, well, who is Financeit? And so maybe you can take one or two from this slide and try to remember it. Well, they provide financing for Home Depot. You'll see that on the top left-hand side of the screen, or Home Hardware. Carrier is one of the largest HVAC companies in the world, and everyone knows who Carrier and Lennox is. We are in the windows and door space. We're obviously in the roofing space. So speaking of roofing, all of you are Owens Corning contractors, and I asked Owens Corning if I could have the luxury of presenting our services to you. Earlier this year, probably around March or April this year, we have partnered up with Owens Corning, and we are very much looking forward to working with them across Canada and working with you, the contractors, directly. Okay. All right. Thought maybe this could catch your attention. Angus Reid earlier this year came up with this study that highlights some potential opportunity for you next year. As you can see on the third column there, windows and doors and roofing, 17% of Canadians plan to replace, fix their windows or doors or roofing for next year. So if you're looking for a number to help you kind of foresee the future, that could be a approximate number. Thought I'd just share that, might help with some projections for next year. Okay. All right. Consumers like having choices. This is one of my favorite slides. So ask yourself, if you go into a home and you do all the right things and you present the features and benefits of the brand that you're representing, talk about your company, clearly you need to have the likable factor. Clearly you probably do, seeing that you're in sales in the home. But if you find that your pricing is in line with the quote that the customer may have just gotten days ago or even hours ago, based on studies, we believe that 62% of the time that homeowner will choose a contractor who offered them a payment plan over a contractor that did not. Okay. So if you go in for, if you go in with a roof that's $10,000 and you know that that other quote was around $10,000, then more than half the time, the customer will lean towards the contractor who simply made it easy for them to say yes to them. Okay, that's the beauty about offering an affordable payment option. It's your goal, it's your responsibility to yourself, your employer, and the customer to make it as easy as possible for that customer to say yes to you. Okay. Biggest pushback in our program is probably when contractors say, "Hey, Joe, your interest rates are too high." In Canada, if the interest rate is not 0%, it's usually too high. But know this, 64% of the people that you will see tomorrow have a balance on their credit card. and typically that interest rate on that credit card is about 18.9%. So, I won't get into rates much on this presentation. I believe that rates are somewhat irrelevant. It's your job to offer options to the customer, and they can decide if it's a fit for them. But know that more than half of your customers carry a balance on their credit card. So being shocked by a high interest rate shouldn't apply. This one here, 67% of consumers. So know this. When you pull into someone's driveway, know that a husband and wife have probably already had the discussion either that day or the night before and have asked each other, are we ready to buy tonight? What are we looking for? Well, the standard things, right? Product knowledge, salesmanship, likability, and of course, budget. So 67% of the people that you're going to see have already concluded and made a decision that they are ready to buy the moment they see you. Okay. I find that that's very compelling. So maybe just tell yourself almost 7 out of 10 people are ready to buy. Again, all you have to do is make it easy for them to say yes to you. All right. Okay. Now, in terms of the market, where are we in the market? So I'm not a financial economist. I'm not a financial analyst, but I do kind of, stay on top of things. So this is my personal belief on where we are in this market. The stock market is at an all-time high. Not everyone's invested in the stock market, so that's, that could be an ignorant statement across the board. If you're a homeowner, you still have plenty of equity in your home. Employment rate is very low. So I think where we are is really a cash flow, I would say, crisis, but interest rates have clearly eroded cash flow for consumers. So a lot of people are sitting with a ton of equity. RSPs are doing well, but they have a ton of credit card debt. And so as per this slide is about a year old. So last year in the United States, the US had hit $1 trillion in credit card debt. Do we feel it up here? Absolutely we do. So if you think about it, there are millions of Canadians who make a decent household income. So tomorrow when you present a roof and you're asking for $10,000, there's a lot of Canadians that make enough. So there's enough Canadians who don't have the $10,000, but they have $100 a month, right? So maybe our average household income, the last time I did a study was about 3-4 years ago, and it was $151,000, and the average age was 53 years old. So at $153,000, one could, make the assumption that they should have $7,000 to $12,000 in their bank, but they don't. But they have $100 per month all day long. So leading with an affordable payment option does many things, which I'll cover off later on in the presentation, but it will help you with your close ratio. It'll help you increase your transaction size. Okay. All right, the benefits of using finance. All right, so here are some of the benefits. Makes purchases more affordable for your customers. Again, lead with an affordable payment option. Do not lead with sticker price. Sticker price invokes sticker shock. All right. The customer that you're going to see tomorrow, probably the last time they got a quote for a roof was maybe 25 years ago, and that roof was $3,500 or maybe $2,500. It's like people today. People today think that air conditioners are still $1,000, and they are not. You need to spend at least $4,000 to $5,000 for an air conditioner. Allows customers to buy sooner than later. So this really plays a significant role in your industry. Your industry, it's more of a planned purchase versus an emergency purchase. But in between, you have that consumer that, looks at their roof, thinks they're educated in the roofing industry, but, they can tell, they have the remnants of the shingle coming through their eaves troughs. They know that, age is catching up on that shingle. And they may say to themselves, hey, I don't have the ability to pay for or replace the roof today. Perhaps 6 months from now or a year from now, I need to do it. And so we have tools in place that could bridge that gap. So, Mr. Customer, let us replace the roof today, and I'll give you a whole year to go find the money. If you have the money, even better. Put it into a GIC, have it collect 4, 5, 6%, whatever the GIC rates are today. But again, if you don't have the money, let's do this now. There are price increases every single year. This time next year, your roof may cost $300 to $600 more. Let's do this now, and I'll give you 12 months, okay, with no interest, no payments. It's a little bit like the Leon's program. In my personal opinion, I think 70-80% of the people who go to Leon's don't exactly go there for the furniture. I don't think the furniture is that compelling. They go because they can buy now and pay later. Okay. That same customer is the same customer who needs a roof, who needs furnace, who needs an air conditioner. It's the same consumer. Okay. Okay, helps customers concentrate, helps customers focus on the need versus the cost. So when I used to be in retail sales, the first thing I used to always say is, Mr. Customer, I will guarantee you you'll be able to afford what I'm presenting to you today, subject to credit. And the reason why I would say that there was nothing more annoying having that customer within the first 30, 40 seconds who are insisting on a price. Because the moment, whatever price you give, again, I mentioned earlier, it's going to invoke some sort of sticker shock, and then you lose the customer. So, Mr. Customer, I can assure you, let me go through the features and benefits. Let me take some measurements. Let me show you some designs. Let me show you some colors. And then I can guarantee I will make this as affordable as possible. Okay. The other beauty about offering a payment plan, it avoids discounting or haggling. So when I used to be in retail sales, the moment you say $10,000, there's that 1 to 3 second, understanding that the customer wants the deal, is looking for a deal, and they may offer you 8,500, 8,000, 9,000, whatever it is, but it's chipping away at your margins. If you look into the car business these days rarely tell you what the MSRP of a car is. Their strategy is to tell you, Mr. Jones, it's $399 a month. Matter of fact, most people who lease cars today don't even know what the price of the car was at the time of purchase. Okay, so offering a payment plan helps you want to deflect from your selling price. Obviously, you need to disclose it, but we're hoping that you disclose it 10, 15, 20 minutes into your presentation when you've established a ton of credibility about the brand that you're representing and who you are. And it eliminates discounting and haggling. Allows you to close more sales per one call. So, obviously estimators don't want to go see a customer 3 times. And so obviously when they go into the toolbox of sales tools, clearly I'm a little biased, but I believe the hammer in the toolbox is financing. So if that estimator can have access to all the tools that are available to them, including a payment plan, on the first call, you can avoid a potential second or third call. Okay. Transaction sizes, we'll discuss that later. Changes maybes into yeses. We all know what maybe means. Maybe means you are more money than I thought. This is more expensive than I thought. Or it just simply means I do not like you, Mr. Salesperson. Okay. Maybe you forgot to take off your shoes in the house. Maybe you basically knocked on the door and you were 2 inches away from the door. Whatever it was, you know what the old saying is, people will square you up in 8 seconds or less. Okay. But maybes are usually tied to affordability. So again, lead with payment and not price. Talk payment and not price. Any questions? I'll take a pause for a second. Oh, okay. Awesome. So people ask me all the time, so Joe, I get it. It's like going to a gym. If I go to the gym 5 times a week, I will look better or at least feel better. No need to sell me on the power of financing, Joe. I get it. I need to do it. Unfortunately, I'm not very good. I don't speak your language, Joe. When I'm in the home, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know how to start a conversation. I don't know what words to say. Now, Joe, you have to remember, I'm on commission, so I certainly don't want to say anything wrong that derails the whole entire sales transaction for me. And so what I've done was with the next slide, I've made it a little easier for you. Okay. So I would ask that maybe you take your cell phone and take a picture of the slide because I think this is your go-to slide. So number one, please, please, please do not use the F word. Do not use financing ever. It's a really bad word. It implies a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For example, oh, you look like you could use some financing. I noticed the 18-year-old pickup truck with rust all over on the driveway. So it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank or what the perception is. Nobody wants to hear it. It is offensive. Okay, so I want you to avoid using the F word and replace it with appealing and more encouraging language. Like, for example, Mr. Jones, would you like to go monthly? We have an easy payment plan. We have buy now, pay later options. Your low monthly investment is only X. Your cost of ownership is only $55 a month. Okay. We have a very popular payment plan right now at ABC Roofing. This type of language, and if you say it with enthusiasm, and I always like to think that enthusiasm is very contagious and it's very free. You'd be surprised how far it gets you into the sales process. Just using these words alone will increase your close ratio. Okay. Again, please don't use the F word, which is financing. Okay. All right. So, Joe, when do I offer it? Well, one, you offer it to everybody. Okay. The goal here is to not decide for yourself who has money, who doesn't. You just assume that it's part of your sales pitch. You present it all the time, every time. Okay. Now, there are moments where you may think, now we have, several different tools in the financing sales box. We have one that is a deferral. I call it the Leon's program, for example, buy now, pay later. So if you go to a customer's house and, there's a gaping hole in the roof or the roof is leaking, it's likely an urgent situation, which means that customer probably didn't save the money for a leaking roof. He or she did not know that this was coming. And so you may offer a level of peace of mind, Mr. Customer. I can be here tomorrow morning. We can replace the roof. In terms of your budget, just let you know that no deposit today, no taxes up front. We have a program that we can grant you 6 months or a year to come up with the money if you don't have it. Okay. Then there's long-term projects with bigger budgets. So I know many of you on this call, you do more than just roofs, right? You do siding, eaves trough. And so we have the ability to grant your customer up to $100,000 to purchase what they need for their home. And I always say, people like to buy, they just don't want to be sold. And so if you take a very consultative approach to your customer in the home where the magic happens and you offer them a very low interest rate, we have rates as low as 0%, but we have very attractive rates as low as, for example, 4.99%. Anything that's less than a line of credit will usually catch the attention of the customer. And we do offer financing up to 20 years. Not that the customer will take 20 years to pay off their loan, but the beauty about 20 years, I'll give you an example. A $20,000 loan, depending on the type of program that you use, could be less than $100 a month for the first 6 months. Okay. So a lot of times these people are looking to build and add value to their home through professional services. And it's just, they don't have the monies put aside, but they're willing to spend it if you grant them the money. Okay. Example, going back to Leon's. The Leon salesperson always asks the customer, can I help you? What are you here for? Oh, we're here just for a sofa set. Okay. Well, that's great. Just to let you know, we got a great promotion. You can buy today. You don't have to pay for a year. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions. And based on those questions, I may be able to grant you $20,000, $30,000 at Leon's. A lot of people, in my experience, approximately 1 out of 3 people who are given money, typically money that's attached to a very compelling offer like 0% interest or 2.9 or 4.9, will use it. And so that same Leon's customer will walk out of Leon's not only with a sofa set, but now they bought a TV, maybe they bought a night table, coffee table, and a carpet. So they went from spending $3,000 to like $15,000. And those people are happy. They walk out of Leon's with a smile on their face. It's a win-win for everybody. Okay. So again, in an emergency situation, we have a deferral program that can help you out with that scenario. If you're looking to offer more than just a roof and create a very attractive package where someone can add a ton of value at an affordable monthly payment, we can certainly assist you with that too. Okay. All right, technology. I can say that the technology at Financeit is incredibly easy. We have a very slick app. It's a low effort app. So all you have to do is log into the app, ask the customer for their driver's license. You scan the driver's license, you enter the amount that both you and the customer have agreed to. And within 2 to 3 seconds, the customer will be granted X amount of dollars. Okay. It's that simple. The whole process takes from the beginning to the end. You'll probably invest 3-4 minutes of your time in the home at the kitchen table. Okay. The beauty about the driver's license scan, you don't have to ask any intrusive questions for the most part. So, or you can simply just, ask the customer for their email address or cell phone number, and you can literally text them a blank application. And so they can fill it out while you're probably, taking some final measurements or taking a call or writing up the estimate. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a uncomfortable experience at all. All right. In case some of you were thinking that. Okay. So if you're in the home and you've done everything you could, you've offered an affordable payment plan, and you've talked about the features and benefits of your product, but for whatever reason, that customer is just not ready to say yes that day. Okay. We know that a lot of customers, unfortunately, including myself, there are moments when we make big purchases, we're scared to say yes. It's that simple. You can be very likable. You could have made it easy for me to say yes to you, but I just need more time. Right. And so what you could do is, you leave the customer's house. And we have this built-in rehash program that's available to you that you can simply send like a rehash reminder to the customer, let's say the next day. And you can simply write them a text that says, hey, Susan, just following up on our estimate, we just launched a special promotion with 6 months, no interest, no payments. Happy to extend this offer to you if you sign a contract with us in the next 30 days. Chances are you'll probably already have the customer's cell phone number because you've already had some correspondence. Maybe, hey, Susan, I'm on my way to your house. I'm running a little bit late, or I will be there at this time and this date. The beauty about getting a secondary offer, and that secondary offer may not be 6 months. Maybe you offered 6 months in a home, but that wasn't enough for that customer to say yes. And so maybe the next day you send them a text which says, hey, I'd like to offer you no interest, no payments for 12 months. Again, I won't get into the fees, so we can talk about that at another time or offline. And so, it's a limited time offer. It's a better offer to the customer. And that might be the extra little nudge you're looking for, or the customer's looking for them to say yes to you. So all these services are available either in the home or after you leave the home to help you win the business. Okay. Now, when the customer gets a text in this example, it's really easy. They enter their information. They enter in. They can upload their banking void check, and they can also sign the contract. So there is minimal work for you, the salesperson. Okay. Now, if there's someone on this call that may not be in sales, that maybe works in the office, and maybe you have some responsibility to your employer to follow up with customers that your salespeople are are not, you can also attach that rehash opportunity in this format in an email. Okay. Okay, what to expect. So, if you have any interest in moving forward with our program, we have some great promotions. Right now, we have a very, very popular 6 months with no interest. So, I'll give you an example. On a $10,000 loan, because it's no interest for 6 months, that monthly payment is $52 a month. Okay. So, if you have any quotes that are sitting on your desk, or in your sales folder, or in the back seat of your truck, you can certainly call or text or email all those customers and say, hey, we just launched a great promotion through Financeit, who's partnered up with Owens Corning. We can offer you 0% for 6 months. Your monthly investment is only $52. Okay. That could potentially win a ton of business for you, because now you're going to them with a different offer. Right? You probably led with sticker price, and that customer needs time to think where they can get the money, if they can afford it, or do they want another quote. Well, if you do all the right things, I believe most people don't need a quote. Do they still get one? Of course. But if you do the right things, I think a lot of people may not need to get a second quote, because you've offered it all. You've made it easy for them to say yes. You've offered affordable payment options. You are the expert in your field. You're offering a very valued brand product. And so when you do that, again, you increase your close ratios. All right. So if you're interested, we will send you a link. That link will need to ask you a few questions about your business. How long have you been in business? Your annual sales? What products do you sell? Do you have a place of business? All this is standard stuff. Okay. The moment we send that out and you fill it out, it will take anywhere between 5 to 6 business days to get you an account. Once you have an account, you'll be turned over to one of our national trainers. He or she will walk you through similar training that I just kind of went through, but more in depth around our app. And then you'll be introduced to your local account manager. And then he or she will talk to you about promotions, current rates, and offer some kitchen table experience if you feel like you need some. Okay. All right. Partnership packages. In case any of you on this call may or maybe go to trade shows 3-4 times a year, or you're looking, or maybe perhaps you have a showroom. I know it's not that popular in the roofing space, but if any of this appeals to you, of course, you can send me a text or call me directly, and I could have some of this stuff shipped to your place of business. Okay. All right. Wanted to share this with you. This is very compelling information. So I want you to see financing as a form of an investment. We have all heard, to make money, you got to spend money, right? So, like, for example, if you're spending $300 per lead through HomeStars, not that I know what HomeStar charges, but let's say you're just not spending $300 for no reason. You're spending it because you're hoping that lead turns into a sale, right? And so this is a recent study that I recently worked with one of my national partners. They're not in the roofing space, okay, but they're in the home. Their transaction sizes are clearly a lot less than yours, probably about half. And so what we did, we took their last 50 sales that were sold on credit card, check, or cash. We combined those 52 sales, and it worked out to an average sell price of $3,585. And then we looked at their last 52 Financeit sales based on this promotion of 6.95%. And we noticed that their average transaction was $5,002, which represented an increase of almost 40%. Okay. So I have the saying that I use and I say quite frequently when I do presentations or when I'm in front of a live audience, is this is what I believe, because I used to be in retail sales. I believe that people who pay by cash typically buy cheap and they buy less. People who finance typically buy more and they buy better. And that's why we have a 40% increase, because people will buy more, especially when they're buying things for their home. They know it's adding value to their house. Now, keep in mind, this has nothing to do with the close ratio. So depending on the skill set of you or your sales staff or that individual salesperson, this could help with a lift of about 5 to 10% on your close ratio. Okay. So again, so we took these 52 sales, we did the difference of $1,400, $1,417 difference. This provided an additional $73,000 in additional revenue based on the last 52 sales that were financed. Okay. This is not fluff. Okay. This is the real thing. This is the real McCoy. This is the holy grail. Okay. If you've ever had sat through presentations in my industry before, a lot of us will say, hey, we can increase transaction size. We all say that, but it's true. And this is it. Okay. All right. So I will leave you with this before I go to my contact details. Affordable payments allows the customer to buy the roof they want and not the roof they need. Okay. So I have a designer shingle on my house. Did I want a designer shingle? No, I didn't even know it existed. But the salesperson came to my home, educated me on, and maybe you sell good, better, best. If you do, good for you. I'm a big fan of good, better, best, but not everybody does. And allocating a affordable monthly payment on each good, better, best is also a fantastic strategy. But this customer, this sales agent, he pulled into my driveway. He clearly could tell that I care about curb appeal. And so he noticed I, spent a little extra on my front door. I spent a little extra on my walkway and my landscaping, and he made me feel good. He came in and said, well, clearly, curb appeal is huge for you. It's pride of ownership. People like to feel that. And he said, sir, and this salesperson actually sold with conviction, and that's huge. He says, I could see you having a designer shingle that will add and enhance your current curb appeal. Now, does that language resonate with everybody? Absolutely not. But it did with me. And the chances that it would resonate with me is because he looked at the curb appeal. Now, is that being a little prejudging? Maybe. But everyone has their tricks up their sleeve. And so he said to me, full transparency, I did pay cash for the roof. I'm being very honest. But he did talk to me. But what triggered me was he had showed me that a designer shingle was only like $60 more a month than the one that was not designer shingle. And because that was affordable for me, it actually got me listening more about the designer shingle, which obviously you guys know it adds definition and it adds a certain look to it. But you may start a conversation with offering an affordable payment plan, and maybe that customer is intrigued and interested, and then they might turn into a cash sale, and that's okay too, right? At the end of the day, we are here to help you win any kind of business. But we do believe that we are a big fat worm on a hook. And if you cast it and they're hungry, the fish will bite. Okay. Again, most people who go to Leon's don't exactly go there for the furniture. They know they can buy and they can pay later for it. Okay. All right. Questions for anyone on the group on this call? No. Okay. So we're just about done. I have a couple more minutes. As you can see on the screen, my full contact information is there. My cell number is there, 647-339-9597. Joe Puleo, Regional Sales Manager for Financeit Canada. So if you have any questions about this presentation or even unrelated that you want to give me a call after this presentation, I'd be happy to take your call. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no other further questions, then thank you so much for participating. And everyone enjoy the rest of your week.